Well, it was the best movie about a shoe I've ever seen.
Well, that was a movie.
Hello and welcome back to Simon's Rants. I'm Simon, and today I'm giving my first thoughts on Air, the new film by director Ben Affleck, starring Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jason Bateman, Chris Tucker, and Viola Davis. In case you haven't seen the trailer, you don't know what it's about, Matt Damon plays a real-life shoe salesman, Sonny Vaccaro, and it follows how he led Nike in its pursuit of the greatest athlete in the history of basketball, Michael Jordan. It details their courting of him, trying to win him over to their side so they can be the ones to create the shoe for Michael Jordan. At the time, Converse was the big thing and the new up-and-coming guys were Adidas. Nike wasn't really on the map. They were strictly running shoes. Their basketball shoes did not sell. Nobody really cared about them at all, but this is a story about how that all changed. So, if I'm being honest, I went into this movie with moderate expectations because I did expect good directing, good acting, good writing. That's all the things I'd heard about it. Also, the cast is phenomenal, and Ben Affleck, believe it or not, has proven himself to be one of the best directors working today. He actually is consistently good. I don't know that he's got necessarily a bad movie on his resume at this point as a director, which is impressive. Most directors do, but I was expecting it to kind of be, to be frank, boring. I know recently James Mangold just had his movie Ford vs. Ferrari, which kind of had the same vibe, but at the end of the day, it's about racing. You know, you've got Matt Damon playing this guy who's trying to work from the business side of things to make drastic changes and reinvent the wheel. But you've also got Christian Bale, first of all, who is like probably the best actor working today. And it's about racing, which is a little bit more exciting on paper than designing shoes. At least to me it was. But if you really get down to it, as much as this movie is about shoes, it's really not about shoes. It is more about that core belief, that core message of people attempting to do the impossible, chasing their dreams, risking it all, doing something simply because they believe it's the right thing or it's the thing that they believe that they should do. And seeing it pan out is such a beautiful, wonderful story because, spoiler, Michael Jordan signs with Nike. If you didn't know that, sorry. I came out of this movie just absolutely floored by the fact that, like, this movie made me tear up a couple times. A movie about shoes, so to speak. But like I just said, it's not really about that. It's about a lot more, and they do a lot to ground it and humanize it. And because it's directed and written masterfully, you just are sucked right into it and you care about everything that's happening. And then, you know, the acting is so well done that, like, these characters that may not necessarily be all that interesting on paper, you care about them because of how they're portrayed and the little things they do, especially Jason Bateman's character. He's very much a side character, but everything he does is so nuanced and so well done. I mean, he's a fantastic actor, I knew that, but he just does everything so well in this movie that I so much cared about his character. Viola Davis too, of course, she has the benefit of playing Michael Jordan's mother, who is a much more sympathetic character that we care about, but she's phenomenal in this movie. I'm not even like a big fan of Chris Tucker, but he was good too. Everybody in this movie was really, really good. It just speaks to you, if you've ever taken a risk in your life, if you've ever done something that people were telling you were stupid for doing, or maybe were too afraid to tell you that you were stupid, but you could tell they thought it, and you did it anyway, and it worked out, this movie's for you. Or if you want to do something and you're too afraid to, this movie's for you, because that's what this movie's about. If you didn't know the whole story, basically at the time Nike had about $250,000 that they could spend on various athletes for their shoe line, and they were going to divvy it up, as they always did, among a few lesser picks in the draft. They wouldn't try and take somebody in the top 5 because they knew Adidas or Converse were gonna get them, so they'd be like, all right, well, we'll pick one of the other guys. Let's look at Charles Barkley. Let's look at John Stockton. Maybe one of them will pan out. But they said, instead of trying to get 3 or 4 lesser athletes, let's try and spend the entire budget getting the most important athlete to possibly ever play the game. Granted, not everybody knew that that was going to be the case, but Sonny Vaccaro, who's Matt Damon's Damon's character, that's what he believed. And so he, despite not everybody seeing his vision, was so confident in the vision that he was going to pursue that. And it just, like I said, to anybody who's ever had a vision, to anybody who's ever had a dream, it is so empowering. It is such a great story. And yeah, at the end of the day, it's a movie about creating a shoe and a shoe line and reinventing how sports work from that side of things with marketing and all of that. But like, it's so much more than that too. And even if it was just that, like I said, the acting and directing is just so good. It really is. Cinematography too. I haven't mentioned cinematography once, but I don't even know who did it. I love the cinematography in this movie. Let's see who did it. Oh, well, that makes sense. Robert Richardson was a cinematographer. He's most known for working with Tarantino and Scorsese, apparently, because his top 4 on his filmography are Kill Bill, Inglourious Bastards, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and The Aviator. Let's see what else he did. Well, he did Venom 2. That's not so good. Shutter Island. He did, like I said, The Aviator, Kill Bill, Natural Born Killers, A Few Good Men, JFK, The Doors, Wall Street, Platoon. This guy's been around forever, and he's been doing great cinematography, so I'm glad I looked that up, because, yeah, the cinematography was so beautiful in this movie, and it, once again, along with the directing and the writing and the performances, it all worked together so beautifully to draw you in, suck you in, and make you care about what was happening, even if it was something that on paper you might think is trivial, like trying to sell a shoe. But once again, this is more on the writing side of things. It makes you realize how much of a risk this was. Like, Matt Damon wasn't just risking his own job, he was risking the job of everybody in that department. That department was on the brink of getting axed, and he could have caused all of these people to lose their jobs and their lives go into disarray. And he may not have really realized that at first, but it gets pointed out to him, and so that becomes an emotional moment in this movie that is such a wonderful payoff. And like I said, like, it makes you tear up. Like, it's so powerful. This movie's fantastic. This movie is genuinely fantastic. I'm fully prepared to give it an 8, maybe an 8.5. I adored this movie, which is something that I really wasn't expecting to. Like I said, I kind of came into this movie expecting to be bored a little bit. Like, I was like, oh, it'll be good technically. Like, I'll be able to enjoy the directing because, you know, Ben Affleck is a good director. And I was like, yeah, the acting's always going to be good with Matt Damon and Jason Bateman and people like that. And they were really good. But, like, at the end of the day, I wasn't bored. I was thrilled the whole time. I enjoyed every aspect of this movie. And man, it was just really, really good. Like, I didn't think this would be the kind of movie that'd be like, hey, go see this. Like, tell my buddy, tell my parents, tell everybody right now. Like, that's how I feel. Like, I want people to see this. This is the first movie I've seen this year that genuinely feels like a lock for my top 10 at the end of the year. Yes, I know it's barely April at this point, but like, there's not gonna be, I really don't believe there's gonna be 10 movies to come out this year that are gonna be better than this. This movie's that good. So if you skipped it, you didn't see it, or you're not planning on seeing it because you thought it's a movie about shoes, please just go see it. If you like good acting, if you love great performances and directing and writing and cinematography, if you just like good filmmaking, like you just want a treat visually and you want a story based on a true story too, that from all I know is pretty accurate. I don't really know much about the truth, so maybe it's inaccurate. I don't know. But regardless, it is just so good, so entertaining, and like, it's a movie about shoes. It's a movie about shoes. I don't know. But I loved it. I was going to say liked, switched to love, because that's true. I did. I loved it. And I really wasn't expecting to. So if you're thinking maybe it's not for me, maybe think it is. Maybe try it out. See how you feel. If you're really not confident, you can wait for it to be on streaming, because it's not a movie that really requires to be seen in theaters. Kind of like Ford versus Ferrari was. Like, that movie really benefited from being seen on a giant screen, so you could feel it. You could vibrate in your chair when the cars are revving and stuff. This doesn't have that. So you don't need to see it on a big screen. I still personally prefer to see movies on the biggest screen possible, because that's just how I enjoy movies. But this movie doesn't necessarily benefit from it like, you know, Avatar or something. So if you really want, just wait for it to come out on streaming, but please give it a chance. It really does deserve it. I don't have any real complaints about it. Like, there was some nitpicks here or there, a couple of weird things happen, you know, but it's filmmaking. Nothing's ever really fully perfect. I don't have complaints. This is really just going to come down to, is it your kind of movie or not? And I understand, like I've been trying to say, it's not as niche as you probably think it is, but it's still going to be niche to a certain extent, so not everybody's going to love it, but just give it a chance. I think it really deserves it. So that's what I did think. What did you guys think, though? If you've seen it, let me know in the comments below, and of course, don't forget to like, share. If you're new here, subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye.